Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the New York State Career Development and Occupational Studies Commencement Credential webinar, presented by Cheryl Winstill and Connie Spohn. I'd like to cover a few technical points before we begin. Only our presenters will be audible throughout the webinar. And we expect the presentation to be approximately 45 minutes with some time at the end for questions. You may submit a question during the webinar by typing it into the questions panel. Lastly, today's webinar will be recorded and available for viewing within 72 hours at nyctecenter.org.
Thank you for joining today's webinar. The webinar will provide information on the New York State Career Development and Occupational Studies, or CDOS Commencement Credential. I am Connie Spohn, Lead Technical Assistant Specialist, Career and Technical Education, Technical Assistance Center of New York. Presenting with me is my colleague Cheryl Winstill, Associate in Trade and Technical Education from the Career and Technical Education Office at the New York State Education Department. We have a great deal to share with you, so we would like to get through the information and then answer questions. As previously instructed, please post them in the box at the right of your screen. In June, the New York State Board of Regents approved regulations that establish an important new credential for students with disabilities. Beginning with the 2014 school year and thereafter, students with disabilities are able to earn a New York State CDOS Commencement Credential. This credential will recognize each individual student's preparation and skills for post-school employment. In the past, many students graduated with an individualized education program, or IEP Diploma. The CDOS credential provides a more meaningful substitute for these students. For students with disabilities who are exiting with a regular high school diploma, it provides them with the additional opportunity to exit school with a credential that also recognizes the student's work readiness skills. School districts and non-public schools are authorized to award the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential beginning in the 2013-14 school year to a student with a disability who completes specific requirements in recognition of the student's demonstration of knowledge and skills necessary for entry-level employment. Most students with disabilities will be able to graduate with the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential as a supplement to their regular diploma, a Regents or a local diploma. However, students who are unable to earn a regular diploma because of their disability may graduate with the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential as their only exiting credential. If the student has a severe disability and has taken the New York State Alternative Assessment or the NYSAA, he or she should graduate with the Skills and Achievement Commencement Credential. Effective July 1, 2013, an IEP diploma will no longer be provided to students with disabilities. The New York State CDOS Commencement Credential was developed consistent with three guiding principles. One, in addition to academic preparation, students need to be able to demonstrate knowledge and skills related to career development, integrated learning, and universal foundation skills essential for success in the workplace. These are the CDOS learning standards, and you will be provided with a handout for these if you have not already received it. Two, students need to be actively engaged in career planning and preparation, and their participation in career awareness, exploration, and preparation activities should be valued, encouraged, and recognized. Three, students should participate in meaningful career development opportunities that are developmentally and individually appropriate in consideration of the student's strengths, preferences, and interests, and that provide real-world work experiences. We cannot stress the need for these experiences to be developmentally and individually appropriate enough. This is an important decision to be made during the IEP development. Research shows that students are better prepared for post-school living, learning, and earning when provided access to high-quality, standards-based education and opportunities to explore career options and participate in work-based learning experiences. These experiences better enable students to make more informed decisions about their post-school plans. Use the academic skills they have learned in real-world settings, which adds relevance to their learning, and develop the skills necessary to become independent adults, which is the hope for the students eligible for this credential. Beginning July 1, 2013, no student may graduate with an IEP diploma. The effective date for the repeal of the IEP diploma is not based on the student's cohort or year the student entered a particular grade. Note, the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential, like the IEP diploma and the Skills and Achievement Commencement Credential, is not a regular high school diploma. Eligibility for the credential. The New York State CDOS Commencement Credential may be awarded to any student with a disability other than those eligible for the New York State alternate assessment. As a supplement to the student's regular high school diploma, that is a Regents or a local diploma, or as an exiting credential for a student with a disability who is unable to earn a regular diploma because of his or her disability and has attended school for at least 12 years, excluding kindergarten, or until the end of the school year the student turns 21. Now I will turn the presentation over to Cheryl.
The New York State CDOS Commencement Credential is a credential recognized by the New York State Board of Regents as a certificate that the student has the knowledge and skills for entry-level employment. There are two options available to students to earn this diploma or this credential. Option 1, the district must have evidence that the student has developed a commencement-level career plan that includes documentation of the student's self-identified career interests, career-related strengths and needs, career goals, career and technical coursework, and work-based learning experiences that the student plans to engage in to achieve those goals. And the student has demonstrated achievement of the commencement-level CDOS learning standards in the areas of career development, integrated learning, and universal foundation skills. And the student has successfully completed at least 216 hours of career and technical education coursework and or work-based learning, of which at least 54 hours must be in work-based learning experiences. And the student has at least one completed employability profile that documents attainment of each of the commencement-level CDOS learning standards, and as appropriate, work experiences, attainment of technical knowledge and work-related skills, performance on industry-based assessments, and other work-related and academic achievements. The components for Option 1 will be described in further detail in upcoming slides. Option 2, in lieu of the requirements for the completion of the career plan, the work-based learning and coursework requirements, and the employability profile, a student may earn this credential if he or she has earned a National Work Readiness Credential. A Work Readiness Credential provides certification that an individual has the knowledge, skills, and abilities necessary for entry-level work. There are 4 recognized National Work Readiness Credentials. The Work Readiness Credential is endorsed by the New York State Department of Labor. The National Career Readiness Certificate, commonly known as WorkKeys. The Skills USA Workforce Ready Employability Assessment, which is often used in New York State CTE-approved programs of study. The Comprehensive Adult Student Assessment System's Workforce Skills Certification System, which is specifically designed for English language learners and individuals with disabilities. Each of these national credentials measures slightly different skills and requires students to pass an assessment. Several districts in New York State offer one or more of these credentials. Students exiting prior to July 1st of 2015. The regulations provide some flexibility regarding requirements for students exiting school before July 1st, 2015, and for students who transfer from another school district or another state. For students with disabilities who exit from high school prior to July 1st, 2015, the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential may be awarded to a student who has not yet completed the requirements for the 216 hours of coursework and or work-based learning experiences, provided that the school principal, in consultation with relevant faculty, for example, guidance counselors, teachers, job coaches, CTE teachers, or others knowledgeable about the student's skills, has determined that the student has otherwise demonstrated knowledge and skills in the commencement level CDOS learning standards in the area of career development, integrated learning, and the universal foundation skills. An award of this credential means that the student is ready for entry-level employment, and therefore the principal must have evidence that the student has successfully completed relevant instructional and work-based learning experiences during the student's secondary school years. That demonstrates that the student has readiness skills for entry-level employment. However, up until June 30th, 2015, the total hours of the CTE coursework and or work-based learning experiences may be less than the equivalent of 2 units of study, or 216 hours. As mentioned in option 1, to earn this credential, students must complete a commencement level career plan with assistance as necessary from school personnel. Students should begin this career plan in 9th grade and update it as appropriate through their high school. The career plan is a student-developed document and, as such, promotes a student's active engagement in career exploration. The student's career plan must include the student's self-identified interests, career-related strengths and needs, career goals, and career and technical education coursework the student will engage in to achieve those goals. A student's preferences and interests as identified in his or her career plan must be reviewed annually and considered in the development of a student's IEP. The information in the career plan is useful to other agencies, such as the Adult Career and Continuing Educational Services Vocational Rehabilitation, or ACCESS-VR, formerly known as VESID, the Commission for the Blind and Visually Handicapped, or CBVH, the Office for Persons with Developmental Disabilities, or OPWDD, and the Office of Mental Health, or OMH, as it provides information that the student's goals, interests, and experiences. A copy of the student's career plan in effect during the year in which the student exits high school must be maintained in the student's permanent record. A commencement level career plan template will be provided by the department as a model form. The career plan template has been developed to align with the CDOS learning standards, career development, integrated learning, and universal foundation skills. School districts may choose to use either the model form or locally developed form, provided that the locally developed form includes the required information. Completion of the model form in Section 1 of the Career Development documents the student's name, identification number, and school. In Section 2, it documents the dates of the annual review of the student's career plan, including the participants who engaged in the review. In Section 3A, the student records his or her personal perceptions regarding his or her interests, abilities, and areas that need to be strengthened. In Section 3B, the student documents his or her community and work experiences and the skills acquired through these experiences. The student also documents any careers of interest and the information the student has learned about those careers. In Section 3C, the student creates future goals and action steps through self-knowledge and career exploration activities. In Section 4, The student uses the scale to rate his or her progress toward the development of the universal foundation skills for the commencement level CDOS learning standards. Minimally, the scale is completed at the beginning of high school and again at the end of the student's senior year or exit year. It is recommended that the student complete the self-rating annually. The student also describes the experiences or activities that helped in the development of each skill and identifies each skill that can be used in life and future work experiences. In Section 5, the student lists and describes his or her activities and indicates the most important things learned about himself or herself through participation in these activities. The student also describes how this self-knowledge will influence future plans.
The New York State Department of Labor developed Career Zone to complement New York State's career plan. It provides a free online career exploration and planning tool for students in grades 6 through adulthood. Documents that can be created by Career Zone include both the New York State middle level and commencement level career plans and a resume. Career Zone can help guide a student through career exploration and planning as follows. 1. A student can complete an interest inventory on Career Zone that leads to career options based on the student's interests and strengths. Got there. I've got a little problem, okay? 2, Career Zone provides information on 800 different occupations, including job descriptions, job outlook, qualifications, and estimated wages, and has over 450 video clips of people engaging in different jobs. 3, Career Zone provides a budgeting tool that assists students in determining their expenses based on their preferred lifestyle and in the region of New York they plan to live. The Career Zone website has a Google Translate option that may assist users in reading it in other languages. In addition to the career plan, the district must have documentation that a student has achieved the commencement level CDOS learning standards. These learning standards reflect a progression from career exploration, Learning Standard 1, Applied Academics, Learning Standard 2, Soft Skill Development, Learning Standard 3A, to Focused Technical Skill Development, Learning Standard 3B. CDOS 3B is not necessary for this credential. To ensure students have the CDOS skills and knowledge, schools must ensure students are explicitly instructed toward these standards. One way to ensure this occurs is for the Committee on Special Education, CSE, to consider these in the development of a student's goals related to transition planning in the IEP. Instruction in the CDOS learning standards should begin in elementary school and continue through the grade levels. We have provided you with 2 handouts related to CDOS. As many of you are aware, Learning Standard 1, Career Development, focuses on knowledge about the world of work and exploration of career options. Learning Standard 2, Integrated Learning, focuses on the application of academic skills in the workplace and other settings. Learning Standard 3, the Universal Foundation Skills, focus on those soft skills or competencies that are essential for successful employment. They include, but are not limited to, basic academic skills, thinking skills, problem solving, abilities to work independently in a team, and the ability to take direction, time management, and the ability to use resources to obtain information. Demonstration of Learning Standards 3B career majors is not required for award of the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential. However, all students should be encouraged to evolve their work readiness skills beyond the minimum requirements. Many do participate in CTE programs of study in which career-specific technical skills are developed and the required technical assessments are administered.
School districts must provide all students with disabilities with appropriate opportunities to earn a Regents or local high school diploma. As we indicated earlier, we expect most students with disabilities will graduate with the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential as a supplement to the regular high school diplomas. Therefore, all students must have meaningful access to participate and progress through the general curriculum and should not be tracked toward this credential in a way that diminishes the student's opportunity to earn a regular diploma. In order to earn the New York State CDOS credential through option 1, students must successfully complete the equivalent of 2 units of study or 216 hours of career and technical education coursework and or work-based learning. Units of study are calculated by using 180 minutes per week or 3 hours for the school year of 180 days or 36 weeks. The 216 hours must include at least 54 hours of work-based learning experiences. Options for work-based learning experiences are described in upcoming slides and existing department guidance. CTE coursework at the local education agency or component school district is delivered in grades 9 through 12. For students to earn the CTE credit, these courses must be delivered by a certified CTE instructor. The course offerings are in the following content areas: agricultural, business and marketing, family and consumer sciences, and technology education. For the purposes of this credential, CTE programs of study means courses completed in grades 9 through 12 at the BOCES or CTE centers and or at a local education agency. These may include courses approved by the local Board of Education and or those approved by the New York State Education Department. CTE programs of study are organized in New York in the following content areas: agricultural education, business and marketing education, family and consumer sciences education, health occupations education, technology education, and trade and technical education.
Students earning this credential must successfully complete a minimum of 54 hours in work-based learning experiences in grades 9 through 12. Work-based learning experiences must be provided consistent with department guidelines and under the supervision of the district. Work-based learning is an important aspect of students' educational experience and an integral part of the school-to-career transition. Work-based learning extends classroom instruction to the community, providing students opportunities to apply academic and technical skills in work environments. Students with disabilities are required to have the opportunity to participate as appropriate in work-based learning programs. These work experiences, which can be paid or unpaid, help students to identify their career interests, assess their employability skills and training needs, and develop the skills and attitudes necessary for eventual paid employment. There are a variety of work-based learning options, all of which are explained in a recently updated department guidance. The website where the guidance is posted is shown on this slide. The options listed on this slide and the following slide are designed for career awareness and exploration. Each option varies by the type of activity involved, related classroom instruction, the age of the student, whether the experience is paid or non-paid, and if students may earn credit toward a diploma. Job shadowing is a career exploration activity. The student follows an employee at a workplace for 1 to 8 hours to learn about an occupation or career path of interest. In community service, students participate in volunteer experiences that teach them responsibility, community involvement, and an awareness of the needs of others. Community service does not necessarily have to connect to the knowledge and technical skills learned in the classroom. Examples of community service or volunteer activities are school-supervised food drive for donation to a local food pantry and a school-supervised cleanup activity to assist a storm-damaged community. The senior project and career research paper are designed for students to research a topic or career interest in a specific career pathway. They guide the student in learning about the college preparation and skills training needed to be successful in that pathway. A school-based business enterprise exists within the school to provide services for students and/or staff. Examples of a school-based enterprise are a school store and an in-house credit union. Through service learning, students participate in community services that are directly related to classroom instruction. They use the skills and knowledge they are acquiring in their classes to make a positive difference in their schools or communities. An example of service learning would be distributing recycling bins and developing a system for collection of materials after studying a unit in science class related to pollution. Students participating in an entrepreneurship program, plan to start up company or product idea involving the design of a business plan, financial planning, and marketing strategy as an activity or class project. An example of entrepreneurship program would be the development of a school-based cottage industry, such as a gift basket assembly and distribution business. Students with disabilities must have the opportunity to participate in all registered and non-registered work-based learning programs. However, districts may develop community-based work programs specifically for students with disabilities that provide additional opportunities for students ages 14 and older to participate in work-based learning programs. School credit may be awarded for these community-based work experiences. These community-based work programs are the only career awareness and exploration options that may be a paid experience. In a community-based work program, a school district partners with local businesses to provide students with work-based learning experiences. For example, students may work in a local catering business. Again, the website shown on the slide takes you to the SED guidance on the work-based learning experiences. Cheryl?
The work-based learning programs on this slide specifically relate to students who participate in State Education Department's approved CTE programs. These work-based learning programs must be registered with SED and must be supervised by a certified work-based learning coordinator. Each varies by the age of the student involved, number of hours work-based learning experiences, whether they are paid or unpaid, and if productive work is allowed. Productive work includes tasks that may benefit a business. However, the work a student does cannot be used to replace an employee. The Career Exploration Program, or CEIP, is a school business partnership that must be re-registered with SED every 5 years and is jointly developed program by the business and educator. Students enrolled in the CEIP program must complete 27 or 54 hours of supported in-school classroom instruction, depending on the number of credits a student will be earning. The General Education Work Experience Program, or GWEP, is also re-registered every 5 years and is designed to reinforce employability skills and basic educational competencies. This program is supported with related classroom instruction designed to support the on-the-job experience. The Work Experience Career Exploration Program, or WESEP, which is specifically for youth at risk, is a federally funded program and is required to be re-registered every 2 years. Students ages 15 and 16 learn career-specific skills and participate in paid supervised work experiences. WESEP participants typically exhibit improved school attendance, higher grade point averages, increased self-confidence, and a greater sense of responsibility, and are more likely to remain in school and graduate. The CTE Cooperative Work Experience Program, or COOP program, is re-registered every 5 years with SED. This program is designed to further develop technical skills with a specific CTE content area in which the student is enrolled. This may be a paid or non-paid experience. The link on this slide will give you all the necessary information regarding work-based learning programs. An employability profile documents attainment of the CDOS learning standards and, as appropriate, the attainment of technical knowledge and work-related skills, work experiences, performance on industry-based assessments, and other work-related and academic achievements. At least one employability form must be completed by the school staff and others, such as worksite supervisor, who are most knowledgeable about the student's experiences and skills in the student's final year of school. One employability profile is sufficient for purposes of the awardance of this credential. It is recommended that the student's record include more than one employability profile, representing a variety of his or her work experiences. The employability profile could be shared by the student with other agencies. For example, the Adult Continuing and Career and Continuing Educational Services, Vocational Rehabilitation, or ACCESS-VR, the Commission for the Blind and Visually Handicapped, or CBVH, the Office for Persons with Developmental Disabilities, or OPWDD, and the Office of Mental Health, or OMH. The employability profile provides these agencies with specific information about the student's work readiness skills. These agencies can participate and attend CSE meetings related to transition with the parent's written consent on the student's written consent if he or she is over 18 years of age. The department has developed a model employability profile form. The performance skills listed were identified by employers to be essential for entry-level employment. These skills correspond directly to specific CDOS learning standards, and the student's achievement of the following skills are rated on a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 being unsatisfactory and 4 being exceeds expectations. A comment section is provided to include additional detail about the student's demonstration of that skill. An overall rating or summary of the student's work performance is provided, and the student's strengths and job-specific skills identified. Each form must be signed and dated by the individual completing the form. The identified school staff will complete this form based on the other employability profiles. On this page, the school documents the student's career and technical coursework, career exploration experiences, work-based learning experiences, and, if applicable, performance on industry-based assessments, and the number of hours of CTE coursework and/or work-based learning experiences the student completed. A copy of the employability profile must be maintained in the student's permanent record. A school district may choose to use this model form or a locally developed form that meets these requirements. This chart provided as a resource to schools to crosswalk the commencement level CDOS learning standards and related performance skills and expectations with the skills in the employability profile on which the student is rated. Students rated as meeting or exceeding expectations in a specific performance skill on the employability profile would have met the CDOS learning standards in the area noted. For example, the knowledge of workplace performance skill in the left-hand column is aligned to several CDOS learning standards: career development, integrated learning, technology, managing information, managing resources, and systems. By referring this crosswalk tool, CSEs could identify annual goal areas for students to ensure the student has opportunities to demonstrate the commencement level CDOS learning standards.
A student who earns the credential must be awarded a certificate upon graduation. The certificate must be similar in form to a high school diploma, except that it must not use the term diploma. The certificate must indicate the student has earned a New York State Career Development and Occupational Studies Commencement Credential endorsed by the Board of Regents as a certificate of readiness for entry-level employment. There is a direct correlation between IEP development for transition planning and the components of the credential. Transition programs and services in the student's IEP should be designed to incrementally prepare the student with a disability to achieve his or her post-secondary goals. The student's career plan must be considered in developing the student's IEP. The student's career interests and strengths, as documented in his or her career plan, inform the development of a student's post-secondary goals, which the students age 15 and older must be documented in the student's IEP. Students must have annual goals that move the student to his or her post-secondary goals. The CSE should consider the CDOS learning standards in identifying relevant annual goals. Transition activities the student needs to facilitate his or her movement from school to post-secondary activities, including instruction, related services, community experiences, the development of employment and other post-school adult living objectives, such as work-based learning activities, and when appropriate, acquisition of daily living skills and functional vocational evaluation must also be documented in the student's IEP. Instruction in the CDOS learning standards and completion of CTE coursework and work-based learning experiences required will be documented as relevant transition activities in the student's IEP.
Let's look at how the portfolio for two students might evolve, leading each student to exit school with this credential. Darnell is a student with a learning disability. He has a career interest in marketing. He created a career portfolio on CareerZone, which helped him determine his career goals and establish a plan to meet those goals. His guidance counselor and his resource room teacher met with him every year to review and guide him through a career plan. To demonstrate having met some of the commencement level CDOS learning standards, Darnell successfully conducted an oral presentation about products or services to be marketed. He developed written samples for the marketing products or services, utilized computer software programs often used in marketing, and developed a 5-page research paper on specific types of jobs available in the field of marketing. He also developed a resume and cover letter, researched and did oral presentations on the job, including the wage options. He interviewed an individual currently in that career. Documentation of these projects and assignments were placed in his portfolio. Darnell participated in one CTE course related to this field, business and marketing. He also completed 120 hours in 3 work-based learning experiences, 1 in job shadowing, 1 for advertising in the school newspaper, and 1 in a career exploration internship program. Darnell earned this credential in addition to his local diploma. The next student, John, is a student with Asperger's syndrome. His stated career interest is in animal care. John developed his career plan with the direct assistance of his special education teacher. To demonstrate having met some of the commencement level CDOS learning standards, John successfully created a PowerPoint about the responsibilities and tasks of a veterinarian, participated in mock job interviews, and developed a list of safety measures and training tips when working with animals. In this process, he identified and explored other fields of work related to animal care. John completed 1 CTE course in animal sciences. He participated in 100 hours of work-based learning experiences in a community-based work program at a local animal shelter, and completed 8 hours of job shadowing at of a veterinary technician. Because of factors related to John's disability, he was not able to earn a regular high school diploma. At the end of the school year in which he turned age 21, he graduated with the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential. In John's last 2 years of high school, he developed an individualized plan for employment, or IPE, with an Access VR counselor. Working after graduation with Access VR's placement service, John obtained related employment as a dog and cat groomer at a local pet shop.
Included here are resources that will assist school personnel in developing instructional programs and experiences to support student attainment in the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential. The first is the June 2013 field memo on the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential. It includes regulatory requirements, a model employability profile, and a model career plan. The next two focus on CDOS learning standards. In addition to the standards themselves, these resources provide very practical information to assist in the instruction and implementation of the CDOS learning standards. As mentioned before, Career Zone was developed by the New York State Department of Labor to complement the New York State's career plan. It provides a free online career exploration and planning tool for students in grades 6 through adults. The next provides information on SED's work-based learning programs. On this site is SED's recently updated guidance document on work-based learning programs and requirements. There is a section in the document on developing community work-based programs that are specifically for students with disabilities who, because of their disability, are unable to participate in the department's approved work-based learning program. The National Secondary Transition Technical Assistance Center, or the NSTTAC, provides a number of excellent resources related to transition planning and services and career readiness. The New York State funds a comprehensive system of state and regionally based professional development support to school districts needing to improve transition planning and transition-related instructional services and supports for students with disabilities. The Regional Special Education Technical Assistance Support Center, or the RSE task, transition specialists work directly with school districts, providing technical assistance on the development and implementation of the Individualized Education Program, IEP, related to transition planning, student exit summaries, transition assessments, work-based learning, self-advocacy and self-determination, and partnering with community agencies. The Transition Services Professional Development Support Center, or the PDSC, provides extensive web-based resources for districts on transition planning and service at transitionsource.org, and this is one of the resources. Additional technical assistance, guidance, and training regarding the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential will be provided in the future. The RSE task will provide regional trainings on this credential. You are encouraged to email questions regarding the New York State CDOS Commencement Credential to cdoscomment@mail.nysed.gov. Questions and answers will be posted on the P12 Office of Special Education website. Questions can also be directed to the Special Education Policy Unit at 518-473-2878, or to Cheryl Winstall, whose information is on the following slide. This last slide contains our contact information. The webinar will be archived on the CTE Technical Assistance Center website, www.nyctecenter.org for future reference. Please contact either Cheryl or me if you are in need of further information. We will now take time for your questions. If we are unable to answer all the questions today, we will take time after the webinar to put those answers together and get them to the participants of today's webinar. Thank you for joining the webinar today, and I will now turn this over to Gretchen for the questions that people have posted. Gretchen?
Okay, we had a lot of questions come in, so I'm going to take them in the order they came in. The first question is, although all CTE programs have a work-based learning experience component, how will districts know that the participating student with disability actually participated in work-based learning?
The school should be documenting the number of hours that the student participates in the work-based learning experiences. In the work-based learning manual guidance document, there are samples of timesheets that can be used, or the school district can develop their own timesheet to track and document the student's time.
And then, Cheryl, is that transferred to the career plan?
Yes, it can be.
Next.
Okay. The second question is, it appears that the employability profile tied to particular CTE programs are not consistently completed, or if so, are not consistently sent to home districts. Are there recommendations or regulations related to the frequency of completing the employability profile and where this profile is ultimately housed?
The employability profile should be kept in the student's permanent records. Those permanent records will most likely be held back in the school district, the local district. They will probably also be held at a CTE center if the student attends there and gets the work-based learning experiences there. The copies of the employability profile will also go to the student for them to take to future employers.
Okay, the next question is, could the state compile a list of BOCES/districts that currently participate in option 2?
That would be a question for the Office of Special Education Policy, so we will get back to you on that one.
Next question is, what other nationally recognized career readiness assessments are available? The speaker noted there are 4, but the slide reads not limited to.
Right. We had worked with the New York City Comprehensive Center to research the 4 most commonly used nationally. Those were the 4 that we came up with, and that was a nationwide survey and research that was done. So there are others that do exist, and the best I guess the best way to handle that would be to have your local district check with the Office of Special Education Policy to make sure if they're considering another assessment that they just check with them to make sure that it is a valid or a good assessment.
Okay, next question is, where does 54 hours come from? How does that fit into a student's schedule of classes that meet 40 minutes a day?
54 hours is 0.5 or half a credit of a course, and these work-based learning experiences can be earned from grade 9 through 12th or age 21, depending on how long the student is in school.
So, Cheryl, does that mean that in 9th grade I could maybe earn 8 hours, and then 10th grade I might earn 10 hours,
Correct.
And then it would accumulate to be 54?
Correct, yes, and a variety of experiences.
Okay. The next question is, EMC Publishing has a virtual job shadow program for purchase. I asked them if students use this program, would the virtual job shadow count as a real job shadow experience and be recognized by New York State? Their answer was yes. Can you verify this?
Currently, we don't recognize any of the virtual experiences for the registered work-based learning experiences. They could use that towards a little bit of it towards the career exploration piece, but not many of the hours. And as they document the work experiences, the schools need to document what type of experience it was, what the experience was, and how many hours spent on that experience as well.
Cheryl, would that be similar to the job shadowing experience that Career Zone has, they have videos too of people.
Right, and that's a very basic level of work-based learning experiences. The optimum is to get the students out into actual businesses and industry, because that is what will lead them to a work placement. And that's the goal, to get these students to be able to work out in industry and in businesses.
Okay. Next question is, due to timing of the credential, how will juniors who may qualify to graduate on time earn this credential along with their Regents or local diploma?
In the slide presentation, we had explained, I don't remember which slide number it was, how the school district can make that determination for the students who are graduating short-term before 2015. So the student, the principal and the teachers, the CFE, special education teachers, CTE teachers, whoever is in contact with that student, instructing that student, will make a determination of whether or not the student has achieved the CDOS credential, and they do not have to meet the 216 hours required, because there was no sunset time between the ending of the IEP diploma and the implementation of this credential. So they don't necessarily have to do the 216 hours.
Okay. Next question is,
and that was slide 6 that describes that when you go back and look at the program.
Okay. Next question is, would a student need to be 21 to receive a CDOS credential as a standalone certification, or may they be younger?
With parental permission, they may exit before age 21, written consent by the parent. So that would be up to the school district and the parent, and the student at any time can exit with the credential.
Okay. Next question, can you use Career Zone to develop a student's career plan from year to year in lieu of completing the suggested career planning form?
The career plan can be done, this is a model form, so the career plan can be adapted to be used. However, Career Zone's career plan reflects our career plan, and we're hoping that it will be online and be able to be printable for the students' use. However, at this time, I don't believe it is able to be printed, which would enable a school to keep it in the student's permanent record. So they would still need to do a paper form until that becomes able to be printed.
And they're working to do that?
They're working currently to do that.
Okay, next question. In the Career Development Plan section for skills, are the skills learned differentiated by year to show progression?
I'm not quite sure I understand that question.
Want to just read that for us again, Gretchen?
In the Career Development Plan section for skills, are the skills learned differentiated by year to show progression?
I'm thinking the answer is no.
Right.
But, I think that was probably a question that we need to do a little bit more research on, Cheryl, and get back.
Right.
And we'll send the answer out to participants. And you'll mark that, Gretchen, please.
Yep. Do students who only earn a CDOS credential count as a dropout?
The students who earn this credential are counted the same as the student who earned the IEP diploma. So they're counted as the same as they were with an IEP diploma.
Okay, next question. What are the guidelines for giving credit to students for community service or volunteering and or for a senior project?
The guidelines meaning, I'm guessing, our requirements or our limitations. The student should be experience more than one work-based learning experience. So they can do community service activities and document those. They can do the senior project, document those. With the community service, they have to be careful that the student is volunteering, but that they are following the Department of Labor's laws as far as employment of youth, because even though they're not being paid, they're still gaining skills. So the Department of Labor considers them as employees or being compensated. So you still have to always follow the Department of Labor's law and rules and regulations as far as employment of minors.
Okay, next question is, how are districts supposed to fund these work experience opportunities in terms of staff to create, supervise, and oversee these experiences?
Cheryl, has there been a discussion about that with the Office of Special Education?
I'm not aware of one. Again, that would be a question for the Office of Special Education Policy.
Okay, next question is, can all 216 hours be obtained through job shadowing, community service, senior project, etc. for schools that do not have CTE instructors or courses?
Yes, the students can earn the full 216 hours in work-based learning experiences.
But I think there are some, and I think it's important to emphasize this, that they must be under the guidance of a certified work-based coordinator.
If it's a registered program, yes. If the student participates in a registered program, it must be under the supervision of work-based learning coordinator. The schools should have work-based learning coordinators available, or work with the local work-based learning coordinator as far as placing students and what experiences students are prepared for.
And Cheryl, can you repeat the registered programs again?
The registered programs are the CEIP program, the WESEP program, the GWEP program, and the co-op program.
Okay, next question is, are students still required to take Regents exams if it has been determined that they will only earn a CDOS credential?
The students are to be made available or made able to take all of the coursework required. At what point the school determines that they will not be able to take and pass a Regents exam is up to the school district, but at no time is any student to be tracked toward this credential because the school doesn't feel that the student may or may not pass a Regents exam.
The very first option is to encourage all students to move in that direction, and then if it is not a possibility for that student, that should be something that's discussed in the CSE meetings.
Correct.
And reflected through the IEP development.
Right.
And actually, I believe, Cheryl, if I'm correct, that there really is, this isn't a huge group of students that would leave with just this diploma.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, not diploma, credential. So we would have students that we would work with and encourage them to achieve the Regents diploma, and then there will be a small group that maybe can't get that, but certainly can get this certificate. And also students who graduate, who have a disability and graduate with a Regents diploma may also have this credential to go with them, but they do not need to have it. They have their Regents diploma.
Right.
Okay, the next question is, can you further explain parent written permission to graduate prior to 21? Where is this noted in regulations?
Off the top of my head, I can't quote exactly where. It's in the special education policy. For a student to exit school before age 21, the parent has to give permission, written permission for that.
And that's discussed in an IEP meeting, having been a director of special programs and a chair of the CSE. You make that determination with all the people that are involved in that process, because a special education student can continue until they're 21. So there's a lot of discussion that goes around that, and why don't we look for that specific regulation and
right.
provide that for them?
Yep. And the parents are in on the CSE meetings as well. If a student desires to exit at age 18 or 19, the students or the parents are at the CSE meetings, and this has all been discussed. It's not, just give them a piece of paper to sign. They've been involved in the whole process.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions. I think the next one that came in is, can the Employability Profile model form shared be used for CTE students not receiving the CDOS Commencement Credential?
Yes, it can. It's focusing mostly on the soft skills, whereas the CTE employability profiles that schools currently use include some of the soft skills, but more of the technical skills. So when the student's leaving a CTE program, take it to a post-secondary institution or a business, they can clearly see the skills that the student has attained technically as well as the employability skills.
Okay. Next question is, what if a student does not have an IEP? Can they still earn a CDOS credential?
At this time, a school could choose to, but at this time it's not even, being discussed for the general population.
Okay, and we have time for probably one more question. Since the CDOS is only for special education students, is there a fear that employers will discriminate against those students?
One of the panels that we sat down with in the development of this was a panel of businesses, and they are in full support of this. When students exited school previously, they would go to a business, and a business would spend a lot of time and resources and manpower to assess the student, figure out what the student could and could not do, where their strengths, where their weaknesses were. With this credential, a business can now look and see that the student has mastered working independently or has mastered working in teams, that they can complete tasks. So it minimizes their resources and their manpower for training employees when they are first hired. So they were in full support of this credential for that very reason.
Okay. There's quite a few questions left. I'd like to remind attendees at this time we are done with the webinar for today, but Connie and Cheryl have made themselves available to answer your questions via email after the webinar as soon as possible. So at this time, if you have any last-minute questions you'd like addressed, please send them in. I will leave this open for the next few minutes. Thank you for joining us today, and please note that the webinar will be available for viewing within 72 hours on our website at nyctecenter.org.